All smiles, champions. Welcome to Mind, Elevation, Health, and Wealth. My name is Shyra DeJuan. I'm an emotional healer, educator, and entrepreneur. Each week, we will dig deep into emotionally healing all aspects of your life to increase your ability to create prosperity. Mind, Elevation, Health, and Wealth allows you to elevate and shift into a growth mindset. Share each moment with me. I'm giving you permission to fulfill all of the unique desires of your heart, judgment-free, shame-free, guilt-free elements to heal your mind and body. As you listen and consume the words of the session with no fear of loss, champions, if we heal together, we'll be real together. Embrace unconditional love and keep listening. Healing is health. Health is wealth. You are here on purpose. Session 4. Creating a positive relationship with money. Listen and listen well, champions. Whether you get peace from God, peace from the universe, or peace within self, creating a positive relationship with money will allow you to elevate your current mindset and beliefs about your ability to heal from past traumatic financial experiences. Actively practicing what you learn in this podcast today will increase long-term wealth for you and your family. I've decided to be extremely transparent in this session today. Financial stability can change immediately from one life-changing experience. It is my duty to reveal my own financial hardships, financial traumatic flashpoints, and life-changing circumstances that have impacted the financial discipline that I will be sharing with you today. I'm not stating that I'm perfect. I'm not saying that I've done everything right or that I'm doing everything right, but I am telling you that I practice having a healthy relationship with money. Here's my saving story. I started my habit of saving at a very young age. It started with saving quarters in a little quarter slot holder from my hometown local bank called Old National Bank in Evansville, Indiana, which I eventually ended up working there as my first full-time job. In fact, working there also helped me understand how people with real money save and invest. The bank had a program for children called Kids Bank Savings. The bank would give children a small booklet with small little quarter slots. Once the slots were all filled up, you take it to the bank and deposit it into your Kids Bank Savings account. I love challenges, so I'm picking up everywhere I see change. If I see coins laying around, I'm taking it, I convert them into whole quarters so that I can fill up my quarter booklet and stick it in a little quarter slot. Still to this day, when I see coins and change on the ground, I pick it up and I say, this is change you can believe in. I still collect coins. And if you want to collect something genuinely valuable, collect coins. Needless to say, I created my savings mindset at an extremely young age. I also had a small little personal bank at home in my bedroom. And because I got robbed a couple times by my siblings, I had to purchase a bank with a combination lock on it, one of the cute little combination locks. Then my siblings would have to ask to borrow money. And at that age, I only loaned money if they paid me back with interest. Now I carried that into my adulthood. If I ever borrow money from a family member or friend, I actually pay them back with interest. Now, I haven't had to do this often, borrowing money, but there were times when I had to put my pride aside and borrow funds. My obsession with saving money was so extreme, my daddy would say, "You so tight, you squeak when you walk." To be honest, at the time, I didn't really understand what that quote meant. I just knew that since my daddy said it, it was funny because people would laugh. But I knew it meant something about me saving money and being frugal. For example, if he sent me to the gas station, I had to go into the gas station to pay for the gas. I would keep his change and I would save it. He would never ask for the change back when he sent me to pay for the gas. He knew my habits already. Also, when we would go to fine dine at a restaurant, servers, if you're listening, I want to apologize in advance. I was a child. I didn't know any better. Anyways, we would go to a Chinese restaurant downtown Evansville called Xing Li. For years, my family did not understand why the server would give us such poor service when we would dine there. But the food was so amazing, we would always go back. Well, I later had to confess to my family that I would wait to be the last one out of the restaurant so I could take the tip and steal the tip from the table. I knew the money was for the server, but I didn't realize at the time they were making little wages and survived off of tips. I was just a child trying to find ways to increase my savings account. Later in life, my savings habits have saved me in many financial hardships, which is why I'm stressing the importance of creating the habit of saving your money and creating a budget by any means necessary. Now, the next story is my traumatic financial flashpoint story. Growing up, we were on public assistance. We received food stamps, and back then, food stamps were colorful paper coupons. For my younger audience, we didn't have an EBT debit card that looked like a credit card. We had to go to the register with a colorful paper bill, so everyone in the store knew you were on food stamps and poor. This was embarrassing to me. So there were times I would wait around the store until the store was kind of empty before I would go check out so I wouldn't be seen with the food stamps. But I did love breaking the dollar food stamps because they would give you back real change. So that's a whole nother story. But anyways, I was embarrassed. When I was in high school, back then, there was a free lunch line in the cafeteria. There was also the line for students that had money. So my freshman year of high school, I didn't eat lunch almost that whole year because I didn't want people to see me in a free lunch line. I was ashamed and embarrassed about being poor. That was only my freshman year though. Eventually, I took advantage of the free lunch. Thanks to my frugality, I began to embrace anything that was free. When I got my first part-time job at the Donut Bake Bakery, a small family-owned bakery in Evansville, my mother made me quit running track to pick up more hours at the bakery because she said, "They're not paying you to run around that track." These were traumatic flashpoints for me. I was so hurt that I had to give up a sport I loved to help my mother pay bills. I was born into poverty, so I knew in these moments that I wanted to live a life of financial stability in my future. Here's my financial hardship story. I was actually doing financially well when I had actually purchased my first home at age 22. I had a pretty nice vehicle. I was working, making a decent salary. I was also a part-time student, but I was not happy in my career choice. I decided to put myself into financial situational poverty to pursue my dream job. I decided to step out on faith and quit my full-time job at the local utility company in Evansville. Back then, it was called Vectron. Now it's Centerpoint, based in Houston. Go figure. I live in Houston now. I wanted to become an educator, and I knew that my dreams were bigger than sitting at a desk helping to generate billions of dollars for a company that hired uneducated supervisors that lowered my self-esteem and affected my psychological fortitude with microaggressions like, "I like it better when you wear your hair straight." What do you guys call those things in your hair? They're braids. We paid an islander to put a braid in my daughter's hair when we went on vacation to Jamaica. Or the most famous, "Can I touch your hair?" All these dehumanizing comments that I had to go through. They also had ways of trying to make me feel inferior. I knew when I started my own mentor group, PALS, Pure Attractive Ladies, that God wanted me to be an educator for teens. He had work for me to do. So in 2009, during the recession, I quit my full-time job and went from a part-time student to a full-time student to start my teaching career. I self-chose situational poverty. My mother called me stupid for making this decision. But my father and my grandmother believed in me. My daddy said, "I trust you, that if you're making this decision, I know you know what you're doing." I had people that believed in my dream and supported me through the process. So having support makes a big difference. However, this is where the benefits of my savings account comes into play. I managed a budget based around my savings. I increased my clients with my legal side hustle of doing hair. And I worked part-time as a mentor at the YMCA and then also as an after-school instructor for Evansville Vanderburgh School Corporation. I also needed to get that teaching experience. So even then, there was still some hardships. My loyal pickup truck named Do Dirt almost got repossessed. Thank God for garages, because I hid my truck in the garage and so I could catch up on the payments. But then I also had to apply for food stamps, and I got denied the first time because of my assets. They try to take your assets if you have them. So that's just the way the system was designed for poor people to stay poor and for us to fail. But that'll be a whole nother podcast episode to cover that. But anyway, God provided, and I survived the hardships and was able to keep my truck and able to keep my home out of foreclosure. And that was thanks to the Obama Home Loan Modification Program. God keeps his promises, y'all. I relocated to Houston with no job. My sister relocated with me and she had a job. So she allowed my son and I to stay with her for 6 months. I'm so grateful for that because that also helped me along my journey. I was doing volunteer work for a small stipend. I had my little small child support check, and I actually borrowed money from my whole life insurance policy to pay my first month rent and deposit. Keep that in mind. I had a whole life insurance policy. Okay. We got a 1-bedroom apartment in Greenspoint, which most people in Houston call Guns Point. But that's the hood we represent in H-Town, North Side. We went about a week with no electricity because I only had enough money to pay the rent. But I started my first teaching job at a small charter school called Richard Milburn Academy, RMA. When I got my first check, I paid the electricity bill. During this whole hardship, I was very transparent with my son, Andre. He knew that while I was chasing my dream, we had to sacrifice. He knew where and how the money was being spent. He knew how and why it was still important for us to sacrifice some things for us to save for our future Texas home. Now, if you think I'm tight with my money and frugal with my money, my son is on a whole nother level of tightness with his money. I modeled the behavior, and of course, we are role models for our children. Our children admire us, see us, copy, and repeat us. I'm going to say that again. Our children admire us, see us, copy, and repeat us. So remember, everything that you do, every behavior that you show, they can either copy you or rebel from you. But studies show they're most likely to copy you. This is the importance of creating a healthy relationship with money as a new family practice. Now let's begin. We will start with your emotional beliefs about money. This is considered your money mindset. Here is a list of some of the beliefs some of us may hold. We may believe that only people that are rich can save and invest money. Poor people can't save. The truth is, anyone can save money. Number 2, we may believe that people that have and own expensive things have more money with status. The truth is, most people that are flashy, especially on social media, are not wealthy. It's usually a front or they're getting paid as influencers. Number 3, we may believe it's fine to live paycheck to paycheck because we feel like we've been doing okay. And we still have nice things. Truth is, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you are one financial hardship away from a deep financial setback. We may believe, number 4, we may believe that being rich and wealthy are the same thing. Truth is, being rich is temporary and can be gone as quick as you receive it. And being wealthy is lifelong financial stability for generations. If you can't manage your money broke, you definitely can't manage your money rich. We see this when people win the lottery. They get rich quick and they go broke even quicker. Now that we have tackled some of those mindset myths, we have to understand that these beliefs actually shape our financial behavior. Now let's address some traumatic financial flashpoints in your life or may have happened in our lives. Traumatic flashpoints are negative situations that may have happened to you and or your family during hardships and struggles. I listed some of mine earlier. Here are some more. 1. Being evicted from your home or having a home foreclosure, which may cause homelessness. Number 2, having cars or furniture repossessed. Number 3, constant family fights, verbal or physical fights about money problems, divorces due to money problems. Number 4, being forced to give up a membership to activities or trainings or not being able to afford competitive sports trainings, gymnastics, dance, or other trainings needed to reach professional heights. Number 5, going without basic survival items and needs such as food, clean and decent clothes, toiletries, or personal items. I'm sure there are some traumatic flashpoints, traumatic financial flashpoints that you were thinking about in your life. We have all heard stories from our parents or grandparents about their financial struggles and how we should be grateful because we have more than they had. They didn't have food, had to eat a spoon of peanut butter for dinner, yada, yada, yada. The struggles have and were real. Because of those traumatic flashpoints, we live in survival mode constantly. Now, I know how to survive in hardships. I hustled, did something strange for some change. I've robbed Peter to pay Paul. I've done it all. Once again, I'm transparent with you. I'm not perfect. Now, it's time for us to create this healthy relationship with money by understanding some common money problems that directly affect our income levels. We will discuss 6 major common unhealthy money situations. 1, get rich quick schemes, Ponzi schemes, and scamming. Please don't fall for the DM messages from your Instagram or Facebook friends. This is a form of fraud where people will trick you into believing that if you give them $50 or more, you'll get triple return on your investment. So if you see them flashing a bunch of money on their social media pages, do not fall for it. You can get a faster return on your money by investing in a high interest savings account because they're going to take your money and never return. 2, buying or financing material things you can't afford. You should not have a $800 purse unless you can walk around with $600 inside of it. That $32,000 car loan you got approved for is only worth $10,000 when you leave the car dealership. Getting approved for a loan does not mean you can afford what you purchase. Affording something means you have the cash available from your discretionary income or the money is in your savings account. Approved financing means you are creating unhealthy debt, which brings us to number 3, predatory lending. Payday loans, online cash now loans that have money in your bank account within 24 hours. Title loans, extremely high interest loan rates. Have you noticed you only see payday loan and car title loan stores in the hood where poor people live? They are called predatory lenders because they are the predators and you become their prey. They will take your car title, take your car for that measly $800 loan that you already paid them $2,400 for in interest. They are the legally funded loan sharks. Instead of getting these types of loans, please borrow from a family member instead and pay them interest. It's not worth losing that fight. If you do have to get one of those loans, make sure you can pay them in full by that payday. But please avoid it. If your credit score is fair, you can probably apply for a personal loan at your local credit union for more money with a lower interest rate than a predatory lender. That's also a better option. Number 4, having excessive debt. I'm not going to bring up student loans because we all still waiting for the student loan forgiveness. Now, that was another form of predatory lending, but I'm not going to go into that. Poor credit history from maxing out major credit cards, Visas, or MasterCards. Also maxing out store credit cards like Macy's or Best Buy cards, or getting small loans for furniture and mattresses. Now, it ain't nothing like a good $1,500 mattress. But the truth is, you should only finance these things if you can pay it off interest-free within 6 months. You can also ask for those options. If you don't need instant gratification to have that mattress right away, the better thing to do, instead of making payments to a finance company, make the payments to yourself for 6 months and then just walk in the store 6 months later and pay cash for your mattress. You can do the same thing with a cash car. Save the payments and then go pay cash for the car. You can also do this with your first apartment. Stay with someone for 6 to 9 months, save the monthly rent amount, and then go pay a whole 9 months rent for your new place. You can also do that with the down payment on your first home. Stay with someone, save for your down payment, and then purchase your first home. I have actually allowed people over the years stay with me and save to get their own place or to, purchase their own home. Number 5, not paying yourself first and saving or investing and not having necessary insurance. That's car insurance, health insurance, and life insurance. Every person should have some type of whole life insurance policy. It is an investment. I stated earlier that I borrowed from my whole life insurance when I was in a financial hardship. They are interest free, and all you have to do is either pay it back or they'll take it out if something happens to you. Many of us don't know the benefits of life insurance policy. So instead of paying those monthly streaming subscriptions of Stars, Netflix, HBO Max, get rid of a couple of those subscriptions and borrow someone's login information for their streaming service and call an insurance agent to set up your whole life insurance policy. Have this insurance payment deducted automatically from your account, just like Netflix takes it, except this is an investment, not a liability. You can't use that as an excuse that I can't afford life insurance. If you can afford to binge watch P-Valley, Bridgerton, and Abbott Elementary by paying for streaming services every month, you can afford a whole life insurance policy. So you need to look into a whole life insurance or a term life insurance. You need some type of insurance for your family. Young people may be wondering how to build your credit. And some of you are wondering how to fix a credit you've messed up. To build your credit, if you have no credit, go to a local credit union with $200 that you have saved and open a secured credit card. This will start revolving credit on your credit report. Secured credit is actually your own money on a credit card that you'll use to make purchases. The key to increase your credit score is this. Do not max out. Max out means don't use all the money up. The whole $200, only use about 10 to 20% of it at a time. Pay the monthly bill on time. You cannot be 30 days late on your credit card payment because it'll lower your score. Then you can apply for other forms of credit within your affordability as discussed earlier. The goal is to work your score up to at least 680 to 700 credit score. This will take about 2 years because the age of your credit history matters. During these 2 years, that 2-year time period, stay on the same job and save your money while watching your credit score increase. You can actually purchase your first home instead of renting an apartment. DTI, debt to income ratio, is also important. So make sure that your debt is under 10% of your gross income. And you'll see on the budget worksheet that I've attached what the difference is between your gross and net income. Remember this. Key facts, young people. Late payments lower your credit score. Max credit cards lower your credit score. Credit inquiries lower your credit score. More debt than the money you make can cause bankruptcy, and you'll have 7 years of poor credit. So please, 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 if you're a young listener, don't damage your credit. For those of you that need to fix and repair your credit problems, you do not have to pay a company $30 to $80 a month to repair your credit. You do not have to pay someone to repair your credit. You can repair your own credit. Take that $30 to $80 a month that you were going to pay that company to repair your credit, pull your credit report for free online or by using the Credit Karma app. Take and schedule a Friday off work and do online disputes for your debt on your credit report. If you see something that doesn't look like it's yours, dispute it and then start making payments. Those $30 or $80 payments towards your small smallest debts until you slowly pay off all your debts. It can be done. You just have to have the discipline to do it. Call your credit card companies, ask for lower interest rates. Many of us don't know we can do that. You can call your credit card companies and say, hey, is it possible for me to get a lower interest rate? And then go ahead and start paying off your lowest credit card balances first. You can do all of this on that day that you take off, on that Friday you take off. And then 30 days later, your score will have increased by about 30 points. There's a little more involved to it, but you get the point. It's much easier than wasting money on one of those agencies or companies that try to, get money from you to fix your credit repair or whatever. You can repair your credit on your own. The main goal in creating a healthy relationship with money is understanding your spending habits by creating and being disciplined enough to stick to your budget. Understanding your spending habits are knowing where all of your money is being spent, why it's being spent, and how it's being spent. Having a realistic savings goal and savings account that you do not have direct access to. That is so important. In fact, my direct deposit for my savings account goes into a credit union that is far from my house, and the credit union closes at 4, and I don't have a debit card to that account. My checking account is not connected to that savings account in any way. I cannot transfer money. I did all of this intentionally and on purpose because I have to be disciplined with my savings. Also note that the money in this account is only for me. It is not for a family member that needs to borrow money. It is only for me. This account is strictly and solely for my hardships only. Same for you. You will not allow a family member to borrow money from that savings account. That's your emergency funds. If a family member calls you and says, hey, my car is about to get repossessed, I need to borrow $800 to save it, do not give them the money. Keep in mind that if they're not willing to pay the money to keep their car on time, they're definitely not going to pay you that $800 back. I had to learn these things the hard way. You will do the same thing after you listen to this podcast and do your budget using the budget worksheet link that I put in the podcast notes for you. I'm also encouraging you to share this podcast with your family and have a vision board / budget party using the worksheet I created for my champions for change. We must be intentional about our healthy relationship with money this new year. Now, when I tell you that in the past, it's been like frowned upon or negative to talk about money with your friends and your family. However, find an accountability partner that you feel comfortable sharing your financial situation with and work together on your budget. Whether it's a close family member or a close friend, y'all have to hold each other accountable and create a savings. Now, be careful with impulse buying online with Amazon and Afterpay and all those pay later apps. No retail therapy spending, no more food indulgence spending, no more inner child revenge spending, no more maxing out credit cards, and definitely no more keeping up with the Joneses. Hey you, champion for life changes, money saver, budget keeper. If you are hearing my voice, today is the day you accept the fact that you were created with a divine purpose to understand how your emotions are connected to your relationship with money. Humans have emotional responses to money. Beliefs you have about money and behavior are in your subconscious mind. Have you ever overspent and then questioned why you did it? You actually get a little upset with yourself when you realize how much you overspent. Well, it's actually a psychological pattern of behavior based on your past traumatic financial flashpoints and hardships. We see this with the keeping up with the Jones effect. Keeping up the Jones, which means you're purchasing things you can't really afford to keep up with others. Your thought pattern tells you if everyone sees I purchase this item, they will believe I can afford it. You feel comfort for others' perception of you. But then later, you actually have to deal with your own financial stress when the reality sets in that you really can't afford it. By then, it's too late. This behavior shows up in people that actually grew up poor or just grew up feeling deprived of what others consider the nice and finer things. So in their mind, I'm going to get it because I deserve it, even if they can't afford it. I'm bringing awareness so that you are now conscious of why you continue your cycle of financial problems, why you are continuing your cycle of not saving first and not paying yourself first, while you're continuing the cycle of not actually creating a budget and sticking to it because you are dealing with that psychological trauma. I'm not saying there's something wrong with having nice things or finer things, because I know someone is out there thinking, hey, I like to have nice things. I'm going to have nice things. I'm going to do this. I know. I'm not saying that you won't ever have nice things. I'm just actually saying, yes, you should allow yourself to have nice things, but you should only shower yourself with finer things only when you can actually afford it. When it's not going to put you in a financial hardship or crisis. When it's not going to emotionally affect you negatively. From what we have learned today, we are now more open and willing to find balance in financial stability so you can have wealth and the finer things instead of just looking like you have it. There's a difference. Flexing on social media does not mean you have it, when in reality, you're really struggling. Remember, champions, when we are real together, we heal together. Be real. So now take this time to visualize your future savings account just stacking up. Manifest it in your thoughts right now. Did you see the commas on your bank statement? Yeah, you see the commas. You see your wealth building. You know your power. It's going to happen this year. Now, each week I promote an author based on a life-changing book that I've read. This week, since we will be creating and keeping a budget, I'm highlighting the author Tiffany Aliche, also known as the Budgetnista. Her book titled Get Good with Money. Tiffany writes this: take a moment. The key to breaking any patterns is to gently question your behavior. Think about your consistent financial habits and write them down. Be honest about where they came from, how they make you feel, and how they might be pulling you off course from your financial goals. This is not to make yourself feel bad about your current habits, but to celebrate the awareness. Knowing when, how, and why you do something is the first step to making lasting positive changes, and that's exciting. Then Tiffany goes on to write, if you identify any behaviors that are not serving your pursuit of financial wholeness, it's time to let them go. One way to help eliminate unproductive patterns is to start thinking 2 steps ahead, as in, if I do this, then this happens. If I do this, then that happens. You want to get in the habit of hitting pause and asking yourself, what would this purchase or financial decision do for me now? What will it do for me a month from now when the bill comes? What will it do when the bill comes and the money that was supposed to go toward one thing has to go to this other thing? The answer to all these questions isn't always to not make the purchase or decision, but if you make this thought cycle part of your spending process, you'll always be making thoughtful and better purchasing decisions. Get Good with Money is a great book to read on your path to creating a healthy relationship with money. Tiffany Aliche also has a book on budgeting you may want to pick up as well. Her testimony is amazing, and I think that's also why she got the name The Budgetnista. You are now a champion for healing and change. 4 quick recaps of clarification and understanding. Listen and listen well. Recap 1. Understand that we all have our traumatic financial flashpoints to heal from, and the awareness is the first step to healing from our poor financial behaviors. We now have the tools to change the behavior and build a new healthy relationship with money to create long-term wealth and avoid get-rich schemes. Recap 2. Don't create unhealthy debt by purchasing things you can't really afford. Don't fall as a victim or prey to predatory lenders. If you spend on impulse from internet browsing or not making a list, getting approved for loans for products you can save for on your own, you will overspend and create debt. Pay off your debt and build your credit score. Pay cash instead of financing as much as possible. Don't fall victim to the instant gratification. You can wait for that item and save your money. Recap 3. Pay yourself first by saving and investing and sticking to your budget. Invest in stocks, bonds, or insurance. If you spend all the money you make, you really aren't making any money. If you save your money first, you will spend less. If you stick to your budget, you will not overspend. It sounds so simple. It requires discipline. Recap 4. Be honest about your unhealthy financial habits. Don't be embarrassed. Denial will not help you heal. Just like any other addictive behavior, don't feel bad about it. The reason I was so transparent in the beginning of this session is because I want you all to know that these financial hardships happen to the best of us. And if I'm practicing healthy financial habits coming from being poor, you can create the same habits with no guilt or shame. Just set yourself up to be more disciplined. Be open to having financial accountability partners. You can talk and discuss money with people. Challenge your family to meet savings goals this year. Have a savings challenge. Whoever saves the most money must donate $100 to support this podcast. Once again, click on the document link in my podcast notes. It has a budget worksheet for you to start your budget and create your budget. Go through your checking account, look at all of your transactions, make sure that you get everything and that you're open and honest with yourself about everything that you're spending so that you can cut your spending, so you can find where you can save. I'm going to go over a quick overview of what is on the budget worksheet, step by step. Step 1, you're actually going to write your new positive money belief and create a positive relationship with your money on your budget worksheet. Step 2, you're going to actually set your savings goal amount. So this is an amount that you're going to create, and that is going to be your savings goal for the year of 2023. Step 3, you're going to calculate your gross and your net income. Step 4, you're going to calculate how much you need to save each month. Step 5, you're going to calculate all of your expenses, every single one of your expenses. And this is where you're going to find out some of those things that you're probably going to need to cut or end. Step 6, you're going to calculate your discretionary income. That is the money left over after your savings has been deposited and the money left over after all of your expenses. That's discretionary income. That's your money you can spend. Use that budget worksheet link that is in this podcast notes. If you have other detailed questions about your credit, how to fix and repair your credit score, please send me a video on my Instagram and I'll be sure to try to respond to everyone to help you through that process. We have to heal together, and I just want 2023 to be a great financial year for everyone in my circle and for all of my champions. Before you decide to do some type of romantic relationship challenges and all of that, why don't you create a healthy relationship with money challenge? Once you have a healthy relationship with money, maybe true love will come. Who knows? Make this year about creating a healthy relationship with money and make it a challenge for your family. We are manifesting this for the new year. Elevate your mind, be open to health and wealth. Trust the healing process. Sometimes healing hurts, but when completely healed, you become a stronger, wiser, and amazing human. That was heavy. Let's relax and breathe. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. Breathe in peace. Breathe out peace. Breathe in love. Share love. Now, share this podcast to help someone you love create a positive relationship with money. We are champions. We win together. Let's continue to connect. I've done all the talking, but don't forget, I'm also a great listener. So after listening to this session, you can release, respond, reflect, or open up and acknowledge your struggles. Let's start the healing process together. Record your voice or record a video and DM it to my Instagram at ShyTheHealer. That's Shy, ShyThe Healer, Healer. All one word. I will try to respond to all voice recordings and videos only. But if you want to write something, write a review or comment and share this podcast. Champions, you can support by clicking the link to donate and support in my podcast notes. Until then, see you next Self-Care Sunday.